Give me a child until it's 7 and I will show you the man. Your life is a printout of your subconscious behavior. The movie The Matrix is not science fiction. It's a documentary. Falling in love is the equivalent of taking the red pill biologically. The conventional story, almost everybody's programmed with genes turn on and off, and then they control the character of your life. If you buy that story, which I did and which I was teaching, it really means that we're victims of our heredity. We didn't pick the genes as far as we know. You don't like the traits, you can't change the genes, and the genes appear to turn on and off by themselves. All of a sudden you see your life is not under your control, it's under the control of the genes. And a lot of people, look, I can feed you with an idea that this pill that we just got from the pharmaceutical company, it's the greatest, best thing for your issue. And I give you this pill and you get better. And then later you find out it was a sugar pill and everybody goes, yeah, that's called the placebo effect. And I go, what does it really mean? I said, you didn't get healed by the pill, you got healed by the belief in the pill. 1/3 of all medical intervention is, it's the placebo effect where the healing comes from. Absolutely, and one of the things they're trying to get rid of are people who respond to the placebo effect, because the placebo effect throws the data right off the chart. That's the result of positive thinking. What about negative thinking? And this is what we don't talk about, but the reality is it's equally powerful in regard to affecting your biology as is positive thinking, but it works in the opposite direction. A negative thought is called the nocebo effect. It can cause any disease and you can die. If you believe you're going to die, you can die from the belief. As psychologists would tell us, 70% or more of our thoughts are negative and redundant, replaying the same negative thoughts. I go, if thoughts had nothing to do with it, fine. But thoughts, positive or negative, shape our biology. And all of a sudden it says, well, now it's time to wake up, because our negative thinking is manifesting a negative life experience. So I was like 20 years ahead. And of course, for much of that time, my colleagues looked at me like I was a crazy guy, because everybody knew the conventional dogma. And I was, coming up with a whole different line of belief about it. And now it's come into mainstream. Believe genes control your life, you're a victim of your heredity. When I say genetic control, that's the belief that genes control our characters. When I say epigenetic control, almost sounds the same, but epi means above. So when I say epigenetic control, literally it's control above the genes. And this is what we now recognize, that the environment, and very specifically our perception of the environment, changes our genetic activity. So that means, well, wait, that's not a victim, because I can change my environment, I can change my perception, and all of a sudden, if I can do that, then I can control my genes. Well, we're going from victim to mastery, from genetics to epigenetics. There's only about 7 diseases that are caused by one gene, such as hemophilia, cerebral palsy is another one. All the other diseases are multiple genes. Cancer is a minimum of 12 to 14 genes, so it's not an accident. You can't change one gene and get cancer. You have to change 12 to 14 genes, and all of a sudden, then probability is a chance? It's like, no, we are creating a cancer, and we can uncreate a cancer. People have spontaneous remissions, but they change it not by changing their biology, but by changing their mind. The problem comes from not so much the scientists, but the pharmaceutical industry. And the reason why this becomes important is because the pharmaceutical industry runs the show in medicine. And if you could put this kind of healing that I'm talking about into a capsule or tablet, they'd be talking about it right now. But this is a consciousness healing, and you can't sell it. And so what's the result? They're not interested in it. And they, through their money, which is massive, actually determine the curriculum in a medical school. And the idea is, well, what's relevant? Well, if you understand epigenetics, you don't need the pharmaceutical industry. You know, one of the biggest industries on this planet, to say you can heal yourself without drugs? And I go, absolutely. Drugs like Prozac, in laboratory tests, are no better than a sugar pill. And that's how many billions of dollars a day on this planet are spent buying Prozac. Statin drugs help less than 3% of the people that take them. And in fact, they cause side effects that are dangerous in about 23%. So you help 3% with a drug, 23% are getting toxic from the drug. Well, if you want to have the effect of the drug, do you have to take an outside drug? And I say, no, you have to change your consciousness, because you already manufacture every equivalent of a drug right now. And the idea is, If you're not manufacturing it, then that means your consciousness is not supporting you in your health. And it's really an adjustment of consciousness, not an adjustment of your biology. Your life's not working right. This drug, look at the happy people. See, they've taken the drug and how happy they are. And people buy that story. And drugs kill over 300,000 people a year. Pharmaceutical drugs kill about 300,000 people a year. And everybody's, that's just the cost of doing medicine. And yet they have a war on drugs, which kill less than 30,000 people a year. And all of a sudden you got a war because 30,000 people died. 300,000 people died. That's business as usual. Here, there is no gene that causes cancer. Not one. And I say, well, yeah, but look at Angelina Jolie. She had a double mastectomy because she had the BRCA1 gene. And I go, yeah, 50% of the women with the BRCA1 gene never get the cancer. What's the point? If the gene causes cancer, how can 50% of the women that have the gene not get the cancer? And the answer is the gene alone is not causing the cancer. It's associated with it, but it doesn't cause. You have to have some life stimulus, kick it off, and then we'll select that gene. Stress is a chemical. Stress causes at least up to 90% of doctor visits. You say, how can stress do this? And the answer is very simple. Stress causes a hormone called stress hormones, cortisol, to be released in the body. I say, what does cortisol do? I say, number one, it causes the blood in the viscera, the guts, where maintenance of the body and healing comes from all the organs. It causes the blood vessels to shut down because it pushes the blood to the arms and legs. Why? Stress means you're ready to run, fight or flight. So you push the energy to where you need it, arms and legs. Well, where do you get it from? Well, you squeeze the blood vessels in the gut. Well, this is growth. The viscera is growth. That's what the organs are for. Arms and legs are for protection. What's the point? If I'm in protection, I shut off growth. Stress hormones shut off the immune system. The reason is just energy. The idea is if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and you have a bacterial infection, how do you want to split the energy? How much energy you want to run away and how much you want to fight the with the immune system? The answer is, the hell with the bacterium. I mean, if the tiger catches you, the bacteria is useless. It's meaningless, So when you're in stress hormones shut down the immune system to conserve energy. And if you change the lifestyle, you don't have to worry about the gene. But the problem is 95% of our life is coming from the programs of life, how to live life that we get in the first 7 years of life. The movie The Matrix is not science fiction. It's a documentary. Every human, and this is a fact, every human first 7 years is download hypnosis. The brain of a child under 7 is in a lower vibrational frequency. When you put wires on a person's head, you read electroencephalograph, reading brain activity. A child below 7 has a lower vibration than consciousness. It's called theta. Theta is imagination. Oh, that's how kids play a tea party with mud pies, but to them it's a real thing. A kid rides a broom, it's a horse. That's theta, imagination. Theta is also hypnosis. You just watch. You watch your parents, you watch your siblings and your community, because you have to learn how many 100,000 rules. Think about it. Just to be a functional member of a family and a functional member of a community, there are rules. Teach an infant these rules. It's like, you don't have to. First 7 years, they observe it and just download it. And then I say, well, why is it relevant? Because this is the unfortunate fact. 95% of our life, this is a fact, comes from those programs in the subconscious. Every day, only about 5% of their life are you using conscious, which is creative. And the Jesuits, for 400 years, they were boasting, and people didn't understand. They say, give me a child until it's 7 and I will show you the man. They've been saying that for 400 years because they knew 7 years was the program period. And 95% of your life after that will be whatever that program is. The famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And basically said you come from a poor family and you could struggle your whole life and try to get rich, but you're not going to make it. And if you come from a rich family, you could be stupid your whole life, Donald Trump, and make it. Not because it was thinking, but it was unconscious behavior that was downloaded from rich families into kids. Which is unconscious. So they're making the right moves unconsciously. Same thing with poor people. Poor people have beliefs from the family. Oh, you can't make it. Life's a struggle. Things are hard. Who do you think you are? And if that's the program you get, then 95% of the day you will sabotage yourself. And that's why poor people stay poor and rich people stay rich, because of the programming. Well, we have to recognize, number one, that 95% of our behavior is coming from subconscious. So a child is going to record for 7 years, and they're going to record you. You have a new baby. That baby is going to look at you because you are the parent. The first thing a baby learns in the first week or two of life, who's the parent? Very important, because that's the reference point. If anything goes in their life, they're going to look at the parent first thing. A child on a playground is on a swing, falls off the swing on the ground. First thing it does is look at the parent. If the mother's like, the kid starts crying. But if the mother goes, get up and get back on the swing, the kid gets back up on the swing. It's reflection. So you have to recognize a child is going to observe every move of you. Then you also have to recognize, well, hell, if 95% of it is coming from my invisible programming, I'm going to pass on the family pattern unconsciously 95% of the day. 95% of your life is coming from the subconscious. Your life is a printout of your subconscious behavior. Oh, so you don't have to try and think about what happened. I just say, look at your life. The things you like that come into your life come in because you have a program that supports them. But anything you struggle with, work hard at, put a lot of effort into making it happen, why you're working so hard, inevitably you have a program that doesn't support that conclusion and you're trying to override the program. So you don't need to do a lot of shrink and psychology stuff. You just look at your life and say, where am I struggling? Because wherever you're struggling, inevitably it's a program in your subconscious that does not support that destination you've been looking for. Subconscious mind learns in two fundamental ways naturally. Hypnosis, which is the first 7 years, and after age 7, how do you put new programs in? Repetition. Practice. You want to drive a car, you didn't learn how by just getting in the seat and put the key in. You had to practice driving the car. You want to learn the alphabet. How many times did you go from A to Z? Try to go to A to Z before you can complete it. And once you completed it, you didn't have to go back and do it again. So 2 phases. You want to train the subconscious mind. Hypnosis, repetition. I like the last one because there's a new phrase that's bandied about called fake it till you make it. Meaning, if you're not a happy person, I say, you want to be a happy person? Then repeat all the time, I'm happy, I'm happy. I say, well, you don't look happy or anything. You say, no, who am I talking to? By repetition, I'm talking to subconscious. If subconscious gets, I am happy, and 95% of your life comes from that subconscious, there will be a point once the subconscious got, I am happy, you don't have to say it again. Repetition is a habit. It's making habit. So you got to do something religiously in the sense of repeating it to make it work.